Who here has learned that debt is bad? Okay, who told you that debt is bad? Yeah, broke people, okay? That's who told you debt is bad. Debt is bad if you don't know how to use it, but everything's bad if you don't know how to use it. If you have a knife can be really bad if you don't know how to use it. Or it can also be really good if you do know how to use it. It can be a tool, right? So debt is one of the most powerful tools that you can use, and a lot of people, they just never use it because they believe debt is bad, okay? Debt is not bad. Things just are. There's nothing's good or bad. It just is, okay? It's how you use it that makes it good or bad, okay? So I'm gonna give you two examples here of why debt is so powerful. So watch this. So example number one, their top half of this is exactly the same, okay? So you're buying a piece of real estate. You're buying them in January 2016, okay? And the purchase price is $10 million. You're buying them with a loan, okay? So you're putting $2 million down to buy this piece of property, okay? So you're taking an $8 million loan, you're putting $2 million down, add those two things together, you get a $10 million collectively, and you buy a piece of property. Does that make sense so far? Okay. The cash-on-cash return is 15%. So what does this mean? How do you calculate cash-on-cash return? This is really important for you guys to understand. When you make an investment on something, the ROI of it is completely irrelevant. Which is much more relevant is your actual cash-on-cash return. So in other words, how much money you're physically putting in, not a loan, not anything else, how much money you're taking out of your pocket and putting in, and how much you make back per year against that initial investment. So in this case, we're saying we're making back in net income $300,000 per year. We put in $2 million, so that gives us a 15% cash-on-cash return. So now we fast forward to the current date, May 2022. The value has appreciated, okay? The value is now, of this property is now worth $14 million. You guys following so far? Okay. The current loan amount, you've paid down $2 million on the loan. Okay, so originally it was $8 million loan, you've made the payments, it's now down to $6 million. Does that make sense? Okay? Your cash flow has gone up because you've raised the rents. So now the cash flow is $360K per year, not $300. Does that make sense? Okay. So your current equity in this building is $8 million. And your goal is like, you know what, I need some cash. I need to withdraw the equity, right? Because right now all that cash is locked up in this building. I need to withdraw that value. Does that make sense? You guys sure? Okay. So you have two options. Option number one, which most people do, is they sell the building. But what did I tell you? What do rich people do? No, that's not what I said. I said rich people focus on what they make. Wealthy people focus on what they own. So by selling something, what are you doing? You're losing something that you own. Rich people sell, wealthy people never sell, okay? So if you did sell, let's see. Your current equity is $8 million, okay? Your profit is $6 million because you put in the original 2, right? So 8 minus the $2 million you put in is $6 million profit, right? Does that make sense? Okay. On paper, it's $6 million. But that's the pros of selling. What are the downsides of selling? Right off the bat, you're paying $2 million in taxes. Right off the bat, you're paying $2 million in taxes. So now you're down to a $4 million net, okay? We also lose the 360 grand a year in cash flow, in profit. So you just lost 30 grand a year, or 30 grand a month in cash flow, right? And we lose the depreciation tax write-off, which is like the biggest way to get out of taxes legally. Now, the other side, we want to get money out of the building. So how do we do that? Okay, so we can refinance. We can take another loan against what we already have. We can take a loan against the equity. Does that make sense? Okay, so what are the pros? We get the full $6 million. We don't have to pay any taxes because loans are not taxable. Now, let me ask you this. If we make $6 million and we have to pay $2 million in taxes, what's the percentage tax rate you're paying? 33%, okay? Have you guys ever seen a loan with an interest rate of 33%? No. Interest rate like what, 2%? So, yeah, okay? We get to keep the income. We get to keep the $360,000 a year, okay? And we get to keep the depreciation tax write-off. And the only downside is we have to pay back the loan with interest. But what if we just take that $8 million and we buy another property? Now, we're multiplying our money. Now, instead of losing the first one and buying another one, now we own 2. And they both cash flow. And so now I'm probably making 700 grand a year, passively. The first loan is being paid down by the second building. And I'm good. And I pay no taxes, okay? So, does this make sense? Yes. So money is not money. Money is debt, okay? And until you realize that all money is debt, at least in the US, and stop thinking debt is bad, because debt is not bad. That's a very good thing. It's very powerful. It's a really bad thing if you don't know what you're doing. But if you, for example, student loans are the worst form of debt you can have in the country because you literally can't bankrupt yourself out of it. I don't know if you guys know that, okay? So if you start a business and you get a loan for 100 grand and everything fails, you can file bankruptcy and they can't come after you for the 100 grand. They just have to take it as a loss. If you take 100 grand to go to school, they can come after you forever. You can file bankruptcy 10 times. They can keep coming after you. It's the only form of debt that's like that. So the whole example is to illustrate that the government actually incentivizes you to, via taxes to create debt. Okay, debt itself increases the size of the economy. When you put money in the bank, do you know what they do with the money? Do you think they just sit on it? They can loan it out 9 times. That's how many times they can loan out every dollar you deposit, 9 times. So you put in $1, they're making 9 loans. Okay, hence why saving money is really stupid. Okay, so where people go wrong is they don't know how to structure debt to create wealth. Okay, and this is beyond the scope of this conversation, although I just did break down like an example of it. But I'll be happy to cover that sometime if you guys are interested in that. Okay.